Thanks for being connected to the third roundtable of our event, International Cluster Mountain Day, a digital event 6 months before the Mountain Planet Trade Show in next April in Grenoble, to connect our international network and to share updated information with key actors throughout the world. So just a quick reminder about the event and the technical aspects. So early in the day, we already got two wonderful roundtables about Asia and Pacific region, and at noon about Europe. It gathers about 200 attendees. So once again, many thanks for your participation and your interest in our event. Please turn off your microphone and camera, and do not hesitate to ask questions in the chat. We will try to manage it with the key speakers throughout the conference. So welcome once again. I'm Nathalie Saint-Marcel, Deputy Director of Cluster Mountain. I'm very happy to animate the last session of the day with 3 key speakers to share about the mountain tourism industry in Americas. So we are really proud to welcome on our digital scene Jimmy Ackerson from Coralco, Chile, Rob Perlman from Steamboat Altera Mountain Company, USA, and Adam Francis from Whistler Vale Group, Canada. And before the floor to them, I'd like to share some inputs about mountain tourism industry in Americas. So first of all, some context about tourism industry in Chile. The country counts around 20 ski resorts, and after a difficult, challenging period in 20 and 21 due for sure to COVID-19 and travel restriction crisis, the 22-22 winter season was very successful thanks to good snow condition, and it allows the Chilean ski resorts to approach the 900,000 visitors days. Regarding the 23 winter season, but Jimmy will speak about in a few minutes, the beginning was a little bit hard due to a lack of snow, and then maybe mountain operations hard again because of too much snow. We are never happy with the weather. What I wanted to point also, there is an important national plan to support mountain tourism in Chile that is called Transforma Turismo, and it's focused on diversification of activities, innovation for mountain industries, and improvement of management of tourist destinations. Regarding the context in the US, for sure, one of the big ski areas in the world with more than 470 ski resorts. Winter season 22-23 that we can call historical, regarding the record of 65 million skier visits. We can underline the success of the season passes that represent about 50% of skier days, supported by a strong investment strategy regarding modernization, rationalization, and guest experience improvement. The main challenges that the stakeholders shared, it's about guest experience, some social points around aging customer, gender, regarding the presence of women in the customers, and also ethnicity. Climate change, for sure, that is a common point throughout the world, and we saw that early in the day. And maybe a point about learning lessons. The numbers are decreasing, and that's a true question regarding the renew of the practices. Concerning the context in Canada, we go a little bit upper in America, upper in the north. Canada counts around 280 ski areas. That represents about 20 million of skiers days. Most of the clients are domestic and US customers. We can even say that it is a major market, and also with an historical winter season 22-23. Apparently a good summer season in overall, and Adam will precise some points, but for sure we all follow the world news, some difficulties due to big fires. And the main challenges that we can point out, aging clientele, renew of customer base, and climate change as for all. So I'd like to just say a few words and thank Laurent Vanat, because we use some data of his international report on snow and mountain tourism to prepare our event. So now I will leave the floor to our wonderful speakers. And the first part of the conference, it's about a short presentation of your destination and the recent results regarding winter and summer season. Depends the hemisphere for sure. And we will start right now with Jimmy from Coralco in Chile. So I leave you the floor.
Thank you so much, Natalie, and welcome to everyone participating here today. You know, the ski industry in Chile is quite different than it is in the Northern Hemisphere. Obviously, our season down here runs from June to October. And so we're actually still operating the ski area at this time, but we're getting ready for our summer operations and hoping that everything goes along as planned. You can give me the next slide there, Natalie. Tell you a little bit about Coralco. Coralco is a ski area that's quite young, just 20 years. We celebrated our anniversary this year. And Coralco is located on the Lonquimay volcano, so we have a very interesting geography to deal with. From the top of the mountain, you can see 5 other volcanoes, and it creates an incredible backdrop for skiing. The ski resort has a concession from the National Forest Service of almost 1,800 hectares, and we have an average annual snowfall of over 7 meters. The reality is that climate change has presented a positive impact for us, or at least it would seem that way until now, in that at our latitudes, ocean temperature rising by a degree or two means greater precipitation levels, though we are watching very carefully what is happening with snow levels. The amount of snowfall that we receive seems to be holding strong and continues to make the Southern Andes a great place to ski. The resort is 100% above tree line. Right now we're at about 100 skier days compared to about 185,000 visitors to the national park in the winter. So the ski industry in Chile being very, very young, we look forward not to see an aging population. We see a growing population where we're introducing more and more skiers to the sport, or more and more guests to winter sports all the time. Coralco operates a 54-room hotel that's within the national park, which gives the company a strategic location for guests to visit us. It's also a limiting factor because due to environmental agency considerations, there will never be any more than those 54 rooms within the national park. But we have 2,000 beds within 25 kilometers for tourism, and we have about 3 million visitors that are within a 4-hour radius of the resort. We're growing towards a year-round operation of the hotel and outside activities. 75% of our visits today are winter visits. Right now, we've just received our first detachable lift, which we're going to be starting to install beginning on the 1st of November. And we look forward to that being a game changer for the resort. So that's what Coralco is all about. The other thing that I would mention that's been very exciting for us in the last 5 years, we've become an excellent training spot for national ski teams. This season was our best year ever. We had 13 national teams training in the resort, primarily speed disciplines. We have a full-length homologated downhill course, which operates every day of the season from the 1st of September until the 25th of October. So it's giving Northern Hemisphere national teams the opportunity to do training in the Southern Hemisphere that's being challenged by the global warming situation in Europe with the glaciers. It's a niche business, not a huge business, but we think it's very important for us in the positioning of the resort in the future.
Oh, and
continue.
what about the latest winter and summer seasons?
Boy, we've had some great seasons. We had almost 9 meters of snowfall in 21 with the pandemic, and we actually were able to operate in 20 for about 45 days with all of the challenges that it meant in 20 with the pandemic. We worked very closely, and the Chilean Ski Areas Association had great relationships with the central government in order to facilitate all of the protocols so that the ski resorts could operate. It affected us most of the winter, but we were able to operate. But snow is a great thing for us. We have plenty of it, and in regards to Coralco itself, we've had a sustained growth of over 25% in visitors over the last 8 years, and we look forward to continuing to grow the ski area. As I mentioned, it's a very large ski domain that's just being developed recently. So as we grow, we look forward to what this iconic volcano is, just an hour and a half south of Santiago by flight, and then an hour and a half from the airport. And we're really looking forward to the future.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy. I was a lucky girl, and I used to ski in Lonquimay, and it's a really great experience. Thanks, Jimmy. Now, Rob, it's your turn to present Steamboat, and then some words about latest winter and summer seasons.
Well, thank you very much, Natalie, and good afternoon, everybody. Excited to be here and share all the exciting developments and what's happening in Steamboat. I've been fortunate enough to be here for 15 years now, half of which I've been the president and chief operating officer. And most recently, in 2017, Alterra Mountain Company acquired the resort when it formed. And then we began an ambitious capital improvement plan, which I'll get into in a moment. If you can go to the next slide, Natalie. Steamboat Ski Resort is in the northwest part of Colorado. We're a large resort in terms of our acres. We have 30 going into next season. As a part of our full steam ahead improvements, we're expanding the ski area by 655 acres. So that will take us up to 3,620 acres, or a little over 1,465 hectares. And that encompasses 183 trails. And the mountain is quite large in terms of the vertical rise, and it's a little over 3,600 vertical feet from the summit elevation all the way down to the base, which equates to about 1,118 meters in terms of vertical rise. So it is quite a large vertical rise. And also our base elevation is approximately 6,800 feet, which is lower than most other major ski resorts in the US. And that has its advantages in terms of altitude, but disadvantages in terms of later in the season. This year, Jimmy celebrated his 20th, but we celebrated our 60th anniversary here in Steamboat. It was a very exciting season for us. It's a little known fact that although we celebrated our 60th anniversary season at Steamboat Ski Resort, we have a small ski area located within the town of Steamboat Springs that's actually owned by the city of Steamboat Springs that is more than 100 years old. So we've been skiing in this part of Colorado for more than 100 years. The ski area celebrated its 60th anniversary this season. And Mother Nature was very gracious in terms of providing us with a healthy snowfall this season. It was our second snowiest on record, and that was over 450 inches or almost 11.5 meters of snow. So it was a great season. It actually, we had so much snow that we were able to extend our season for the first time in 30 years, and we extended our season by a week going into late April. And then, as I mentioned, full steam ahead. Alterra acquired this resort in 2017. We began discussions around how we could make the resort even better. So we started an ambitious resort improvement capital campaign in the summer of 21. So on the heels of COVID, we started investing in the ski area, and that encompassed all told, and we're just finishing up what we call phase 3, or our third summer of construction, which we're buttoning up here as we have 34 days until we're scheduled to open for the 23-24 season. But it started the first year, the first summer of construction was 2021, where we really created, we liberated the plaza. So we moved the gondola that was in the heart of our base area out onto the snow beach. We also brought in escalators that made it much easier to get down to the base area, enjoy the base area. We kind of completely redid the base of the ski mountain to create a gathering place for our guests and our locals so they could enjoy the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, as well as the end of the day. So we put in a new ice skating rink and fire pits and gathering places and benches and art. And it really has upgraded the overall base area experience. In addition to that, we've also put in the lower section of the Wild Blue Gondola. The Wild Blue Gondola is the fastest, longest gondola in North America once we open it here in December. In the summer of 22, we put in the lower section, which goes up to a mid station, and the mid station is where we have a new on-mountain learning center. So you actually get on at the base, and this is a short ride, about 4 minutes up to the Greenhorn Ranch, which is our on-mountain learning center. Previously, we had magic carpets down in the base area, and Steamboat is a single portal mountain, so we would teach our beginner skiers and snowboarders how to enjoy our sport, but it's also at the bottom of the mountain, and it's also where people are kind of coming by all the time. So we dedicated an on-mountain arena for teaching beginners. We also utilize terrain-based learning and have worked with snow operating. So we shape the mountain and contour the mountain to help people understand how to ski and snowboard and how to turn. It makes it easier. We also have 4 magic carpets and installed a detachable quad. And this was the first one in North America with the auto restraint bar. And I know we see those all over Europe, but it was actually the first with the auto restraint bar here in North America. And we opened the lower section of Wild Blue, the Greenhorn Ranch, as we call it, our learning center, and the detachable quad last winter. to rave reviews. And it was to rave reviews by not only our guests, but by our snow sports instructors. And Natalie pointed out that we have been seeing a downward trend in the amount of lessons. And we understand as Steamboat, we need to do our part to grow our sport. So we're very focused on that never ever experience. And we saw tremendous success with dedicating their own section of the mountain to teaching skiers and snowboarders. This summer, the last component of what we call full steam ahead was the expansion of our resort by 655 acres. And that will take us from the 5th largest in the state of Colorado in terms of skiable terrain to the 2nd largest. Only larger resort will be Vail in the state of Colorado. We'll open up that new terrain, which is all expert and advanced terrain. It has those trees that we're famous for, legendary tree skiing and powder skiing, gladed, and that will really expand our terrain. And we're also installing a new high-speed detachable quad with Leitner Palma to service that terrain. The other component of full steam ahead this summer is the 2nd section of Wild Blue going all the way to the top of the mountain. Again, a 10-passenger Doppelmayr gondola, and you will be able to get from the bottom through the mid station and to the top in approximately 14 minutes. And that, again, will open this winter. So all told, incredible developments here in Steamboat, but we're also very focused on our vision, which we've always been known as friendly. And I put our vision on this slide here to be the friendliest and most welcoming mountain destination on the planet. So that's our vision. We truly try to live up to that. And what also helps us welcome guests from all over the world is our flight program. We have one of the most robust flight programs in the US. Our airport is 22 miles away, and we have 6 carriers flying in from 16 nonstop cities. And that really provides an advantage when our guests, as well as our locals, can fly directly into Steamboat in the winter and be within the resort in about 45 minutes. So we have shuttle service, we have rental cars. Some of the lodging properties go out to the airport, but it's a very close drive in or shuttle in from the airport. Denver's about 3 hours away under good conditions from the airport and not a lot of traffic, but a good chunk of our guests choose to fly nonstop right into Hayden Airport or Steamboat Airport, which has connections through those 16 cities to more than 300 worldwide. So next slide. And then we're really focused not only on winter, but also summer. And as I talked about, a reimagined base area with a new food and drink hall we call the Range. We have mountain biking. We have about 50 miles of mountain biking that we service on our Steamboat gondola, different from the Wild Blue gondola, our new one, as well as a 6-pack chairlift for 50 miles of trails of downhill mountain biking. In the community, there's hundreds of miles of cross-country mountain biking as well. And then we're trying to animate the resort with our new base area. It has an ice rink that we cover with AstroTurf in the summer, create a food and wine events, art events, beer festivals, and truly trying to animate the resort to take advantage of this spectacular setting.
Thank you so much, Rob.
You're welcome.
And now we will go a little bit further in the north with Adam. You are going to present, if you need to present, Whistler Blackcomb and some facts and figures about winter and summer seasons.
Absolutely. Thanks everybody for participating in the forum today, and thank you Cluster Montaigne for the opportunity to speak on Whistler Blackcomb's behalf. Some key information regarding the Whistler Blackcomb Resort. Our average snowfall 11.38 meters. of snow on a yearly basis. Our total terrain is 3,307 hectares. So that's broken out 14 acres on the Blackcomb side. Whistler's a little larger with 4,757 skiable acres. So that's a combination of 8,171 acres to our skiable terrain and to our resort. We have 17 mountain restaurants. We're connected with 35 lifts of various configurations. The highest lift access elevation is 2,284 or just under 7,500 feet, 7,494 is the top elevation up at the Horseman Hut on Blackcomb's High Alpine. And down at the bottom, the Whistler Village elevation is 2,214 feet or 675 meters. So very, very, very low compared to majority of the states, the large resorts within North America. And we are in a maritime climate, and it's a temperate rainforest, and we're about 100 kilometers east of the Pacific Ocean. So there's certainly impacts from the ocean and the weather that's generated from that maritime climate affecting us, both good or bad at times. Next slide. So in terms of on-mountain activities, some of the visuals here are indicating of what we offer. Obviously, skiing and snowboarding is the biggest draw here in wintertime. We have sightseeing as well, which is a good product. We have a summer and a winter sightseeing product. The ability to connect the two main gondolas going up both Blackcomb and Whistler, then you can cross load on the peak to peak. So it gives a triangulated type of experience. You can visit both Alpine restaurants and have a look on both mid to upper mountain locations on both mountains, which is a good draw for us. Down in the Blackcomb, near the Blackcomb base, we have a two park, which is great for folks that come here, don't want to ski, or there's parents or siblings that don't ski or ride, and this is a good alternative winter sport activity for them. We have competitions, festivals, weekly activations. So you can see the picture mid-screen here on the right. That is the Crankworks Mountain Bike Freeride Festival, and this is the pinnacle event, the Joyride slope style that we put on it was in July this year. We have a significant spectator base on the ground watching this, and as well as televised and broadcast the event all over. So that's a big 10-day event for us. We gather a lot of freeride mountain bike customers to the area. Après ski activities. So Whistler is known for a pedestrian village, and it supports a number of high-end restaurants and eateries, as well as a number of bars for après ski activities, meeting friends, having a jug of beer, pizza, nachos, anything like that. There's numerous facilities within this pedestrian village where the ability to après ski and relive your day over a beer is available down there. We work with third-party operators as well, and again, these are some more ancillary businesses which the non-skier, or if you want to take a day off or half your day, you want to ski and do some ski and ride activities. We have a company we partner with who does snowmobile and cat tours up the mountain to one of the smaller Alpine restaurants on Blackcomb, where there's in the wintertime it's a cheese fondue with some musical accompaniment and some sightseeing along the way. And Zip Trek Eco Tours again is it's a zip line. It's a zip line service that we partner with, and they've got canopy tree walks and through the Fitz Valley, a number of different lines. And the pinnacle of that experience, of course, in the summer is there's a line that mimics the peak-to-peak gondola. It's about 700 feet off the canyon floor, so you can zip from Blackcomb over to Whistler. So it's quite an experience. You go over 100 kilometers an hour. So we partner with those folks there. We had the 2010 Olympic Games, so there was legacy venues and activities that remained in the village and on our mountains, mainly the Whistler Sliding Center, which was developed for all the sliding events for the Olympics, and that remains here for training. World Cup facilities, they give tours in the summer on wheeled sleds, etc. It's a regular guest to come and check that out. And just south of town, there's the Callahan Valley Nordic Center, which was the host for the 2010 games. The cross country and the biathlon activities were out there, as well as the ski jump. So as the Olympics packed up and left town, there's these legacy venues for us to use and to provide these experiences for guests coming here. Backcountry skiing is very big as well. We've got free open borders in terms of leaving the ski area at predetermined spots and enjoying the Garibaldi Park, which borders on the side of Whistler and Blackcomb. You can actually tour from Blackcomb all the way to Whistler. It's about a 20-kilometer horseshoe-shaped tour. You can do that in a day or overnight if you're into snow camping. And then there's a fairly nice Keys and Clare hut, it's called. It's a private hut close to the Whistler side, which offers overnight and accommodation in the high alpine. It's probably at around 7,500 feet. Summertime, we talked about the Whistler Mountain Bike Park with that free ride festival. Alongside of that, we've got a world-class mountain bike trail. It's a bit of a destination. We're seeing folks from all over the world come and ride their local park, their local trails, and then they have a destination trip all the way to Whistler to ride this park. So in total, we've got 70 trails encompassing 80 kilometers of linear length, 4,900 vertical feet of lift service through gondolas and chairlifts. Major mountain bike competitions that Crankworks. We also host smaller scale is the cross country bike Canada Cup and BC Cup. Trail running as well is kind of an emerging market for us. There's a couple of different organizers who do operate their races through our tenure as well. So that's quite a popular event there. And these are the long 100, 150 kilometer long trail running events. Mentioned before, we do the hiking and sightseeing in the summer as well. We also in the summer have an additional ability to go to the top of Whistler on the peak chair, open air quad, high speed quad, to get you up to the very peak of Whistler. Up there, we've got call it the Raven's Eye Lookout, which is a lookout suspended bridge looking down over the Whistler Valley. And also, as you can see in the photo here, there's a suspension bridge. This is 140 feet above the snowfield on the peak. And that's incorporated with a return loop hiking trail. So that's been a great draw from us for people coming up and enjoying the sightseeing and the thrill of walking across that bridge. We also interlace with this sightseeing product various lengths of hiking trails in the high alpine. So depending how interested you are, and you can do a 10-minute hike, you can do an hour and 10 minutes, or you can do a 3-hour hike. So you can kind of bite off and choose your own adventure based on how fit you are or how long a hiking experience you want. But in the high alpine, off the peak chair, you can go up there and then do some high alpine hiking. Very spectacular with the sight lines on a sunny day. It's a beautiful experience, especially when the wildflowers are in bloom and nice sunny warm day. So that's been a great business for us. We also have these alpine restaurant events. The picture in the bottom right is the umbrella bar, which is quite common now at a lot of resorts. This is the ability, obviously in good weather, that roof folds up and it's an open air dining and drinking. If you want to have a beer after your hike experience. And then the restaurant is open throughout for food and beverage support. And then there's Friday, Saturday, Sunday in these restaurants. There's the feast, they call it, where you can come up and you can stay after hours till 8 p.m., watch the sunset, and have a high-end buffet styled meal up in the Alpine restaurant. So that's some of the activities winter, summer. Looking back to 22-23 season, so I must preface this. Unfortunately, I apologize. I cannot offer any metrics around business levels or visitation, given the publicly traded nature of our company, our owner, and we're not able to divulge everything. So I apologize for that. What I can say, recent capital investments are lift upgrades, which we've seen a fairly significant investment in the last few years. So a year ago, last November, December, we opened this Creekside Gondola. So that's a new high-speed 10-person gondola that replaced a previous 6-passenger, an older style gondola. It significantly improved the wait times and the upload capabilities and capacities out of the Creekside base. Increased by 35%, so that's a pretty good uptick in uphill capacity. It's been a great win on high volume days. You know, historically there's been long lineups and people suffer through that in the past. Now they're in these lineups, they think it's a long line. All of a sudden the line's moving very quickly. The guests have to get used to, you know, paying attention, not playing on their phones, because it's a marked improvement in the upload time on that gondola, given the increase in capacity. So it's been a good investment for us. On top of the Creekside gondola, the next chair we replaced last year as well was a former high-speed 4, and that is now a 6-passenger chair, and we see a uphill capacity of nearly 30% on that as well. So out of the base, an increase in capacity of the Creekside base, you offload the gondola, you get on the big red chair, and that's a 6-pack. So we got 30% improvement there. So massive uptake in the upload capabilities in that Creekside area. Up next, so we're just about to finish the final preparations and get ready for the load test on the Fitzsimmons Express, and that will open this winter. That is an 8-pack. And prior to that, it was a 4-pack. It was our main bike park lift, and we're replacing that with an 8-pack. We are upgrading as well to the Doppelmayr, the bike clip, which is the clamshell size styled bicycle carrier, which will greatly increase the experience of loading the bikes, and the capacity is near doubled uphill on the bike capacity on that fit. So it'll be great for upload out of the village base for capacity, and then in the summer business, it's going to support the bike park with you know, an increased guest experience and minimizing the wait there for the mountain bike park access.
Thank you, Adam. Could you just be a little bit faster for the rest of the presentation, because we have to respect 100%. The timing, please.
Yep. So post-pandemic, so we're continuing to work pre-pandemic operations back to normalcy with our international borders fully open. The restrictions were lifted in October 22. We carefully navigated with thoughtful, ongoing communication with the municipality here in the Valley and other stakeholders to address the recovery from the pandemic, which is ongoing. We're almost mindful of balancing the needs of the economy with our collective responsibilities to the environment here, our community, and the overall infrastructure. And we see support from Vail Resorts Network through pandemic and recovery to ensure the continuity of resources and staff.
Thank you. Thank you for this precise and clear overview of your resorts. To continue, it's interesting to focus on the main challenges and issues you are facing. So what about the main issues and the strategy and the main project in connection with for each of your destination? And Jimmy, I leave you the floor once again. If you can explain rapidly but precisely to our attendees the destination challenges and issues.
Sure, thank you, Natalie. You know, sustainability is a 360-degree issue for us. You know, it goes from what the issues are with the local community to what it is with the way that we operate our resort. We're an emerging destination. Coralco itself, in its 20 years, the number of beds in the valley has grown dramatically. The municipality that we work very closely with is facing the challenges of a transition from a forestry-based community to a tourism-based community. Something that probably the ski areas in North America remember when Rob and Adam were kids. That was when the transition of those industries were occurring in North America. But we're living it right now, and it presents us with an opportunity to take all of the know-how that exists around the world and try and implement it. Our hotel, Coralco, which you can see right here, is 100% off the grid, produces its own energy through microturbines that are cogeneration of electricity and all of our heating needs, zero emissions, and something that we're very proud of and is very forward thinking for Chilean society in our community. Climate is something that we're paying very close attention to. As I mentioned earlier, we have issues with snow level. The resort operates with 850 vertical meters of ski terrain, and the valley floor is considerably below that, and certainly in the valley we're seeing less snowfall. But in the area from 1,500 meters up to 2,400 meters, we haven't experienced a decrease in the amount of snowfall that we're receiving. So we have to be careful. We're looking at topics that are old school for the Northern Hemisphere and new school for us. Topics like snowmaking installations in the lower elevations. We're opening up a second base operation with the installation of this new detachable quad, so that we're looking to grow from 1,600 meters up to 2,500 meters, and making sure that that we have all that covered. One of the particularities of Coralco and the climate is the fact that the majority of the ski areas that exist in Chile were created in the 1950s and 60s, when the Andes Mountains were just being developed, and the resorts in the Andes were just being developed, and the ski areas were basically placed whatever was the easiest way to get into the Andes. And many of the ski areas have expositions which are unfavorable for snow accumulation. Coralco, on the other hand, has all south and southeast facing slopes, which is the optimum in the Southern Hemisphere. And that allows us to accumulate a tremendous amount of snow on the south and southeast faces of the volcano. In terms of community, a great deal of my work revolves around getting the community to understand where we're going. As I've said more than once here in Chile, the ship has already set sail, and we have so much to do to try and keep up with the demand that is growing in this watershed that is the location of the Lonquimay volcano and the Yaima volcano. So we work very, very closely with the central, regional, and local governments to make sure that we're on the cutting edge with them in all tourism development. We have once again a great future before us, but we're in the genesis of a destination resort. We have an incredible mountain, an incredible valley environment, an incredible watershed that has tens or hundreds of years of development in front of it, and we look forward to it. Just a little note of geography. As you look at this photograph on the slide, That's what's called an Araucaria forest, and it's something that most people from all over the world become enchanted with. And the Araucaria tree is a conifer tree that grows in a very narrow latitude just between Chile and Argentina. In English, they call it a monkey puzzle tree, but it's an incredible specimen for our ecosystem, and it's all of those trees are literally over 1,000 years old, and the indigenous people of Chile, the Mapuches, that provided them with a pine nut that was a very staple part of their diets for thousands of years. So it's once again a very unique environment, and as our destination grows, I'll be looking to steal all of the good ideas I can possibly get a hold of from Asia, Europe, and North America. Thanks, Natalie.
Two words
the
about
future for us.
Yeah.
The future for us is lift expansion. As I mentioned, we're about 3,500 acres is the permitted area that we operate in. So though as it is a volcano, our skiers can ski a great deal of that acreage with the existing lifts that we have. We do have to be constantly working to increase uphill capacity. With that will become the preparation of more trails. We are a mecca for backcountry skiing simply because the Lonquimay volcano is associated with a 50,000 hectare national park that is an absolute paradise for backcountry skiing, and it is well protected. So the growing skimo randonnée community considers this part of Chile and this part of the Andes to be a very important destination for them. But you have to have prepared slopes. So we'll continue to develop through lift expansion and terrain expansion to attend to the traditional alpine skiers. We fortunately do have a very good relationship with the Ministry of the Environment, and all of our master planning for mountain development and for a mountain village is all in order with the environmental ministry. We've worked very closely with a Canadian company, EcoSign, out of Whistler, to do the master planning for the mountain village, which will be situated just outside the national park, and also with them to work on what the master planning for the mountain is. So we're looking very positively at the future. We're taking off here now with this introduction of just the second detachable lift in Chile. May sound funny to some of those in the Northern Hemisphere, but skiing in Latin America is Latin America. You take your time, you enjoy, and it's not about how many times you go up and down the hill. It's about what you do in between. And we hope that people will continue to look at the skiing opportunities and the winter sport opportunities in Latin America. It's a very special place on the planet. Thanks, Natalie.
Thank you. Thank you. We continue our trip to Steamboat. And Rob, I leave you the floor.
Thank you. I'll try to go quick because I'll try to leave a few minutes for questions. I'll be really quick, and I'll talk about climate first. I mean, Jim talked about it, and we're all facing it. A couple things we're doing here. I didn't mention part of Greenhorn Ranch. We installed 30 fully automated fan guns for snowmaking. When we get to the top of the new Wild Blue Gondola, we're installing 60 fully automated snowmaking guns, so that helps. We also are part of Altera Mountain Company, as I mentioned. We just put out a 180-page report called Forward Stance, which really spells out our efforts to really address corporate social and responsibility efforts. And the big one is we want to be net carbon neutral by 2030 with all of our owned facilities. So we're working locally here with the Yampa Valley Electric Association, our local co-op. We've are almost going to the point where we're signing on to commit to half of the new solar farm that will provide us with 2 megawatts per year of solar power, which is 20% of our electricity use. We continue to take every step possible to improve our climate here and do our part. The next two, staffing and housing, are related. Obviously, high cost of living here in the mountain communities. We've increased our starting wage 60% in the past 3 years. So we really need to compete to make sure our folks can have a living wage, can afford to live here. Our peak employment in the winter is a little over 2,000 employees. And it's very difficult to find housing. We're very fortunate that we have over 500 beds that we own and lease to our employees at a very reduced rate, below market. And then for those that want to move into the general market, we offer a stipend of $500 per month when they come to us and have a signed lease. So these are measures we're taking to address kind of the short term. For the long term, we work with Yampa Valley Housing Authority, which is a local entity working on affordable and attainable housing. We're working on a new development right 3 miles outside of town that's going to, over the next 20 years, provide 2,200 affordable and attainable units. These are less seasonal based and more for supervisor, manager, vice president type individuals that are going to be here year round. So very focused on addressing the many challenges we all face. Looking forward on the next slide, part of that is transportation. To really create a better transportation, to utilize our city buses and shuttles. We're talking about a gondola down to our big parking lot to reduce the amount of vehicular traffic coming up to the base area, connecting that with a gondola, continuing to focus on our air program, and trying to look at ways we can create a regional transportation authority to really address more mass transit, whether that's through electric buses, hybrid buses, and potentially a passenger train from the airport and connecting Northwest Colorado, similar to what obviously we see over in Europe. So with that, I'll turn it over to Adam to leave maybe a couple minutes for questions.
Thank you. And we can imagine that the challenges should be partly the same.
Thanks, Natalie. Yes, definitely, and within the mountain resort communities throughout North America, the very, very similar challenges I've outlined. Number one is housing. So our strategy, we have a new staff housing building being built. It'll be 2 years out, unfortunately. That'll be an additional 200 beds on top of the 1,300 beds which are there already. We've added resources for employees to connect with one another to identify open room and vacant units. So there's kind of a networking framework where that takes place to help each other. We work with the local jurisdiction as well, the resort municipality of Whistler and the municipality and other local organizations to identify collaborative solutions and opportunities to address the affordable housing crisis in the short, mid, and long term. So we see impacts on employee retention, and the entry-level employee is certainly subject to that with a lower wage, and it's very hard for those folks to get a foothold in terms of housing here. With the mature long-term folks who obviously earning a higher wage, it's a little bit easier given the higher income, but still challenging for most people here. The other challenge outlined in the previous speakers, the sustainability challenge. The strategy we have here is, and this is Vail-wide, is called Commitment to Zero. It's a bold sustainability goal to achieve zero net operating footprint by 2030. Key results in reducing energy consumption that we use on mountain, supporting the mountain ecosystem, diverting waste, and broader sustainability awareness and education. Here in resort at Whistler, we purchased 100% green power, which is produced locally through a private run-of-river micro hydro facility in the Fitzgibbon Valley, which is it's an intake and an impeller, and it drops through about a kilometer and a half, dropping vertical and generating power, and that's sold to the grid, and then we buy it off the grid. So in essence, it's produced locally. We're investing in low-E snow guns and continued investment into research into sustainable technologies, be it Snowcat, the 600E piston bully cat, or the Tega electric snowmobile, which we're working with again this year. Third challenge listed here is road congestion and parking. So we've got a valley, we got one road in, one road out, and at peak times the traffic is very, very bad. Lots of traffic jams here. Our strategy is to work closely with the municipality on solutions that ease congestion and positively impact the environment. So we support the Transportation Action Plan. These are recommended actions over the next 10 years that advance the community toward more efficient and affordable transportation systems. Whistler Blackcomb own congestion and parking study to be conducted this year. So that's within our own support to look at congestion, parking, what are outcomes, what are the challenges, what do we have to do to invest in, where do we need to go with that. Another strategy is supportive solutions and incentives for public transportation, carpooling, etc. And we're going to leverage the learnings from other resorts within Vail Resorts to network on solutions that have worked in those communities and see if that's feasible to bring that here to help with our road congestion and parking challenge.
Thanks a lot, Adam, and thanks to each of you for this interesting information sharing. I think it's really important to get in touch in the coming months about these strategic issues, and the coming Mountain Planet Fair will be the right place for it, because all the challenges you are facing with are shared also, as we saw early in the day in Asia, in the Pacific region, and for instance in Europe. So right now I leave the floor to Jérôme Riff, Managing Director of Alpexpo, who is going to speak about Mountain Planet.
Thank you, Nathalie. Thank you to all of you. This was very interesting. Last May we were in Savannah, so now we hope that next April you will be in Grenoble for the Mountain Planet. Mountain Planet, we have 900 brands on 50,000 square meters with a lot of exhibitions and demonstration. We are talking about 23,000 trade visitors coming from all over the world, 71 countries. We have a 40 international delegation, and for the 50th anniversary of Mountain Planet, we will organize a lot of different surprises. We will have a new website, sustainable and low carbon power. We will launch the 4th edition of the innovation book. Because you are looking for solutions, we will provide you the latest innovation to solve your major issue to try to solve major issue with climate change, smooth mobility, pollutions. So we will have new villages on the renovation, the low carbon, the eco-building construction. We will have a village full of startup solutions. We will have a village focus on the transitions with water management, waste management, and energy transition. We will also speak about mobility with lots of suppliers proposing new solutions. We will have also a space dedicated to biodiversity, because I think that's also something which you pointed out in terms of main issue for tomorrow. With the Cluster Mountain, we will also organize a 2-day trip, not to say a 2 days party in the French Alps between La Rosière and Les Arcs. And you know, this is always a privileged moment where we can exchange, we can benchmark with the entire world of mountain. So this is important to have you soon in Grenoble from the 16th to the 18th of April. And don't forget to book your ticket in advance, because it's going to be fully busy, and we are really welcoming you for the 50th birthday of Mountain Planet. Thank you for your attendance.
Thanks a lot, Jérôme, and thanks for your partnership for the great success of the next Mountain Planet. So now we can open the floor for a Q&A session, a short Q&A session to respect the schedule. Thanks for your precise information. So maybe I can read the chat, and I've got a question from Laurent from France to Jimmy from Coralco. Coralco was successful this winter, but what about the other Chilean ski resorts? What about the results and also the future challenges?
Nice to hear from you, Laurent. Look, the ski industry as a whole in Chile is still recovering from COVID, for sure. The central region of the Andes outside of Santiago, Chile, has had a few very low snow winters. Fortunately, the 2023 season reverted that. We had a tough start to the season in the central region with a variable isotherm or snow level that caused significant flooding and landslides around the metropolitan region. For us, that means that we had snow levels that were above 2,500 meters, or we had rain above 2,500 meters in the early season in that part of the Andes that caused a whole bunch of problems. But fortunately, that turned around, and the 4 ski areas in the central region, Portillo, La Parva, El Colorado, and Valle Nevado, ended up having fairly positive seasons. We're very happy to say that in my double role as the president of the Chilean Ski Areas Association. The rest of the country really had a pretty good winter. Nobody is going to say anything negative about the amount of snowfall that we had, so that's always a good thing. And the behavior of the international clientele has pretty much recuperated completely. For the Latin American ski areas, that primarily means Brazil, Peru, Colombia a little bit, and then North America. The Brazilian market, with its economic struggles, the folks that enjoy to slide on snow continue to be present, and they came back out in force this year, post-pandemic, post-restrictions, really. So we're looking very positively. We mentioned earlier in the introduction that you did, Natalie, that there were 900,000 skier visits in the country, and in 22 we surpassed 1 million this year. So that's certainly in the right direction, and we want to be the little train that could.
Thank you, Jamie. Maybe a short question or a short answer for Adam and the pricing policy regarding the summer activities ski lift tickets categories, including bike park. Do you have any information to share about how you deal during the summer season?
Not really anything I can divulge around the pricing policy. That's privileged information. I could direct you to the website where you can see the price for the activities is laid out there.
Okay, thanks. Maybe a question for Rob, maybe the last question. You presented the challenges and the main projects for Steamboat as you are part of the 17 mountain destinations of the Altera Mountain Group. Do you share this orientation with the other mountain destination? And maybe can you give us some information or some experience sharing about the mega pass or the season pass and the impact of your facts and figures?
Yes, I think I understand the question correctly in terms of challenges, and are the other Altera mountain destinations facing similar challenges when it comes to staffing, housing, and climate? And I think you probably saw between just the panelists today that climate is probably at the top of the list for all mountain destinations. And I think we continue as an industry to address that. As I said, Altera Mountain Company has put out its first annual report. It's very robust. We have a leader that's the Executive Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility and Chief Legal Officer, who is bolstering up her team. We recently at Steamboat hired a Director of Social Responsibility here. So it's a new position for us. We've shared kind of our efforts in leaning into this challenge with our other resorts through the Altera family, and are always talking about best practices and how we can improve our efforts to address climate change. We actually were talking with Winter Park several years ago, which is another Altera resort in Colorado. And we made the decision, no more single-use plastic bottles. So we were the first resorts in the Altera family to eliminate single-use plastic bottles. And since then, we've shared how we've made that, courageous move and the right move with our other resorts to have them follow. So yes, we're very fortunate to be independent in terms of our resorts, but also work together as a larger whole, and then as an industry as well. In terms of housing, yes, it's something I think we're all facing, not only at Altera, but also as an industry, particularly in North America, as people want to move to our great communities, and particularly with Teams and Zoom and being able to work remotely. We found a lot of folks have moved since the pandemic to our communities, and that has increased the cost of real estate and put pressure on us to address. So we work with Altera Mountain Company and the development group to look at opportunities to add to our bed base, to do leasing. We share best practices in terms of the stipend that I mentioned. We had heard that's been successful at our other Altera resorts. I was talking to our friends and cousins and Icon past partners at Aspen Skiing Company, who offer a season pass to their locals that offer up a bedroom or do a lease with one of their staff members. So we're always exploring, and I think it goes beyond Altera and really goes to the industry. And what a great industry to be a part of, to be able to ski and snowboard in the winter and address challenges on a year-round basis.
Thanks a lot, Rob. Thanks to each of you. Thanks to all the attendees. We wish you a really, really good season, winter or summer season, depending the hemisphere. And we really hope to welcome you in next April in Grenoble for Mountain Planet. Once again, thanks for your participation. Thanks for your time, and have a good day. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.